What is good, boys? Welcome back to Nate Trades and to another weekly trading recap. This week, I'm going to go over this week's price action. I got fricky fracked, bent over 3 times up the booty, but I took one win and a break even also. So let's get right into Tuesday. On Monday, I didn't get any clean trades that I really liked. There was a lot of conflicting draws of liquidity. But yeah, let's go right into Monday. I took Tuesday. Let's get right into Tuesday. I took 2 trades on Tuesday. Let's go to higher time frame first. Alright, so entering the day, extremely bullish bias. We had this high that we were really close to, and we were clearly just trending up and respecting bullish order flow. And then we had a clean leg right here. I'll explain that in a second, but we had these 1 hours as well. So in this clean leg, we had this 1 hour that was a bit more discounted. So the reason that's important is because it is. So entering the day, I was looking for a tap of either this 1 hour or this 4 hour just to take a long towards the super close draw of liquidity higher. All right, at market open, we went down, we swept out the 4 hour low, we tapped into the 4 hour fair value gap, and we got a clear 1 minute IFVG right here. I entered long with my break even level at this 15 minute fair value gap here. You can see it right there. Entered long with my break even there, stop loss down here, because if we went anywhere down here, it was gonna wick us out. So didn't really matter if I went there or at the low. And then TP at the relative equal highs above, relative equal highs above. And then, this one was unfortunate. Got stopped out pretty much immediately. The lesson I got from this one, because this was mechanically super valid, is that waiting for confirmation is like a good thing. And in this case, I'm gonna next time, in that, we got this 1 minute IFG, but you can see the close is kind of bad. Like we had a super big wick and we like barely inversed it. So what I'm gonna do next time in this exact scenario is, if it's like a weird inverse, I'm going to wait for another like candle to show me and give me some confirmation. So if this next candle had been like pretty bullish, I would have just entered like up here maybe, and then just like figured out everything else later. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do next time. If the inverse is super mid, I'm going to do that. I'm going to just wait for another candle. All right, and then after that, we reswept the low, creating a tapping into this 1 hour and creating a 5 minute fair value gap right here, and bing bang boom, got a clean inverse of that, and then we just targeted the high again, break even at the 15 minute. This one ran to TP pretty freaking fast, and it was such a smacking dub. So the lessons from this day is that even though my draw and liquidity was right, I'm going to wait for a little bit more confirmation on these ones that like barely retrace. I'll wait for like one more candle, and I think that's fine, because I'd rather get worse RR and maybe have to target higher than just get fricky fracked on it. So yeah, that's the lesson from Tuesday. Wednesday was FOMC. I pretty much said I would get on the charts for the first 30 minutes, and if it was dookie cheeks, I would just hop off, which is exactly what it was. So let's get right into Thursday. All right, getting into Thursday's price action. This is the trade that I took. I'll quick explain it. Let's get right to the higher time frames first. So, entering the day, I had a bearish bias. Why? We had an SMT here at all-time highs. ES right here, had taken out all-time highs, NQ had not. So, right away, bearish SMT, high time frame. So, leaning short, we were respecting bullish order flow here, but because the SMT, I was leaning bearish. All right. Going to the 1 hour, we had inversed this bullish 1 hour. So the next draw of liquidity was this low right here being previous day low, or this significant 1 hour intermediate low, and it's also a 4 hour intermediate low right here. Going right to market open, what I was looking for was on this 15 minute time frame, we had created 15 minute bearish for value gap right here. I was looking for a tap of that and a move lower. So this is what I was ideally looking for. Boom, 15 minute is right there. All right, market open happens. It literally wicked up into it and then displaced lower. Nothing I could do. No trade I could take there. I got absolutely no setups. We just continued to rip lower. The reason I didn't look for shorts here at all was because after we had taken out this previous day low, I was looking for a rebalance play because we were constantly in a bullish 4 hour. So I was overall looking for it to like move lower so that we could continue higher. But in this case, it just dumpy wumpied. So what happened, we hit the last 4 hour fair value gap that I had marked out right here. And that was kind of the fair value gap that in my opinion was like, we're either going to respect this and then we're going to continue higher, which was like my overall narrative because it is overall bullish price action on the high time frame, or we're going to dump straight through it and then possibly go for this low, possibly this low. Yeah. Okay, so after we hit the 4 hour here, we made a small move up, reswept the low, which is the exact structure I was looking for. And then I was looking to target just 1-to-1, just take along here, a rebalance play towards this 15-minute fair value gap. Because in my opinion, if we're going to be going short, we should rebalance to this 15. Or if we're going to go long, we'll just run straight through it. So that was the idea for this one. And yeah, the highest time frame fair value gap in this leg was a small, tiny 2-minute. I have it marked out right here. So you can see it's very, very hard to tell. It's tiny, but it's the highest time frame in the leg. So what happened? We got a nice displacement through it. I entered long. Mechanically, I'll explain why this was not so great, and then I'll explain logically why this wasn't so great. So I do regret taking this trade, but I learned from it. It's just a lesson. So mechanically, why was this wrong? Quick show that it lost real quick first. Yeah. So mechanically, why was it wrong? Well, we had already tapped the 5-minute. So mechanically, the 5-minute was already tapped into. Therefore, it was mitigated and we didn't technically have to go there. But why was it logically invalid? Because we had dumped 500 effing points, pretty much, 470 effing points. So why would I want to take a trade against that? So that's the lesson that I took away from this, because trading counter trend is not a great idea. And so, yeah, it was mechanically invalid, and then logically it was not valid. So, yeah, obviously, big lesson on that one. Let's just get right into the next day. Alrighty, getting into Friday's price action. I took 2 trades this day, a loss and then a break even. And then I missed one setup that would have been the final winner of the ideal objective. But first, let's go to the higher time frame and frick me right now. All right, going to the higher time frame, we were very, very neutral biased. We were respecting bullish, we were respecting bearish on the 4 hour. On the 1 hour, we were respecting bullish, we were respecting bearish. On the 15-minute, we were respecting bullish, we were respecting bearish. Okay. So, what did I do entering this day? I was looking for something clean and obvious. Hindsight, I need to wait for like practically perfect structure for taking trades on extremely neutral bias days. But yeah, anyways, that is the overall high time frame. So getting into market open, I was ideally looking for a sweep of this 1 hour intermediate high, tapping into this 15-minute, and then targeting this data low right here. Had this data low, nice data low from 730, which I was looking to target. So right at market open, we displaced higher, tapped both of those, and then we got a clean IFVG short. It was a 30-second, but it was the logic, it was the model, it was the concept of exactly what I was looking for. So with it being the highest time frame inversion in the leg, being that 30-second, I did enter it and I took it. Break even just pretty close. I figured if we were going to just chop around, I'd want to get out. But yeah, and we had all this great LR here generated. So I entered short, took that one. Unfortunately, lost out on that one. Stop me out right there. Yeah, that was super unfortunate. I'd say it was an A+ setup. It was clear like sweep of the highs and then a very nice V-shaped reaction lower. Again, the main thing that was against this trade and against any trade on this day was that the overall bias of the high time frame was just not clear. We were ranging, we were just going sideways. It wasn't clear bullish or bearish. But yeah, anyways, that was the first trade. Second trade, after we reswept the high, we got a clean 2-minute fair value gap right here that I would use as my condition because, again, we still had the data low intact. And yeah, so I entered short here off the 2-minute IFVG, targeting the data low. Now, why did I go for the data low when it was 2RR instead of anything else? Well, simply put, there was no other obvious draw of liquidity. If I go to the 5-minute, there's no 5-minute fair value gaps. If I go to the 15-minute, there's no 15-minute fair value gaps. There's no obvious draw of liquidity that I should target instead of the data low. I could have called bull crap and targeted this low right here, which was technically the New York AM low for the day, but that is some bullshit right there. That doesn't look remotely like a draw of liquidity. So yeah, I went for this data low. This one was very, very unfortunate. I went break even mechanically here at the bottom of the leg that swept liquidity, which I saw it like this: move up, move down, resweep of the high, bam, inversion here, break even level there being the low. Okay, so I entered short off of that 2-minute IFVG right there, and then the market kind of just chopped around. A small note that I got from this one was having my stop loss at the wick high instead of the body high, which would have been like right here, saved me from getting a loss on this one. But yeah, all right, market went down, hit my break-even level. I obviously went break-even, and then unfortunately stopped me out. This one was pretty annoying because I could have like done the bullcrap thing and just technically TP'd here, or I could have like just targeted like 1-to-1, which would have been like right there. But honestly, that's not a draw of liquidity, so I didn't. And yeah, I got break even on that one. And then the last trade setup that I faded was this right here. Was this 2-minute short right here. The mechanics behind it was decent. There was an SMT here at the high. SMT here at the high. ES had swept it out and Q hadn't. So it was decent like that. We now had relative equal lows here as a very A+ draw of liquidity along with data lows. But the reason I faded this, because I did see it, the reason I faded it, and it would have looked like that, bing, bang, boom, to there. Okay, that's what it would have looked like. But the reason I faded it is because this inverse is so shitty. Like, there's just LR being generated right here, which at my stop loss, I do not take those. And so that was so bad I didn't take it. And of course it runs straight to my TP, and then I was right about it. It went straight back up, took out the L. So that's the reason I don't take those trades. Super unfortunate that it was that it would have been a winner, I guess, but you have to have those in the trades that you fade because not every trade you fade is just going to be a loser. Anyways, that was it from this week's trade recap. Let me quick go to the overview of the lessons I learned from this week. So, all right, what did I learn this week? So I had 5 trades overall, taken 1 win, 3 losses, and a break even. So quick thing that I've been doing is I've been doing intensive backtesting sessions where instead of just quickly marking things up and quickly doing this, quickly doing that, just briefly looking at the high time frame and all that, getting a general narrative, I've been really, really locked in with that. I call it intensive backtesting sessions, and that's helping me to improve a lot. And then I need to get better at recognizing good versus bad market conditions, i.e. Friday, because we were literally respecting bullish and bearish order flow. So why am I taking a trade when the trend is not obvious? So that's something I'm going to work on. That's a big thing I'm going to work on. What did I do right this week? I entered trades confidently and without fear based on my own convictions. I learned one very valuable lesson, being like when we dump like 500 points, don't take a counter trend trade against that. That's kind of stupid. And then one thing I can be working on is just the market conditions, getting better at recognizing that and taking trades off and not putting on risk when it's just not clear. And then what did I do wrong? I took one counter trend trade after a massive dump. So lesson learned now. And then what will I do next week? Work on getting better at market conditions and only taking dumb, obvious setups. Because I feel like those are just honestly the winners. The one winning trade that I had this week was pretty stupid obvious. It was so freaking clean. It was so freaking obvious. Anyways, that is what I got from this week's trading recap. Enough yapping. I hope you guys didn't get big booty clapped like I did this week. But yeah, thanks for watching this week's trading recap. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and I will see you boys next week. Peace out.